Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Ajo True and Love, here to bring you your AEW Dynamite review for 11/11/2020. Was a solid show, the fall show from AEW Full Gear. We had some good stuff going, stuff stemming, from the pay-per-view, some more build. Got news about December 2nd. John Moxley, Kenny Omega, AEW World Title on the line. December 2nd, the biggest match in AEW history. It's short history, but nonetheless, we also got PAC returning to confront Eddie Kingston. We also got as well MJF's induction to the Inner Circle. I'll go over all that and more on this podcast. So again, thank you for joining me. If you're new to the podcast, like and subscribe. Click on that bell for notifications for all your AEW Dynamite reviews, pro wrestling reviews. So again, thank you all, and get into the podcast now, our episode. So the show started off. First of all, thing I noticed, new intros and new graphics. I noticed with AEW, they're getting more cool graphics and new intro. Definitely nice synthetics to watch. Getting better, kind of that bigger feel, basically, with AEW, which is a nice touch. So anyway, the show started off with Team Taz. They came out. Taz, well, first of all, Taz was on commentary for the prior match, for the eventual match between Brian Cage and Matt Sydal. This is good, but before, Taz cut a promo mentioning Darby Allin, who is in the Raptors, in attendance for AEW Dynamite, praised him as the new AEW TNT champion. Basically warned him because watch out for Team Taz, Ricky Starks, and just being careful. So then we had the match between Brian Cage and Matt Sydal. This was a pretty good match. Matt Sydal mostly has appeared on AEW Dark. He and Brian Cage meshed well together in this match. Just good back and forth. Obviously, the big man, Brian Cage, trying to be cut down by Matt Sydal. Coming towards the near end of the match, Brian Cage went for a Hurricanrana of his own and was countered into a powerbomb by Sydal. Then Sydal hit a Meteora on Brian Cage on the rampway. Looked brutal for both. So then he went for, I would say, a corkscrew leg sweep, kind of like a rail barrel neck breaker almost, for a near fall. Then Cage countered with a big lariat. Sydal again got the advantage. He went for a diving neck breaker, almost a blockbuster, off top rope, but was countered in midair, and Cage hit the drill claw for the win. Cage looked good, although he was taken to the limit by Sydal. Sydal still looks good. Sydal, he is definitely a good piece for AEW. He actually mentioned how Sydal and Alan Taz did in his promo before the match how Darby Allin and Sydal have things in common. Darby Allin now has a win over Cody Rhodes, and Sydal has a win over Chris Jericho. Of course, that was in WWE, but nonetheless, uh, good showing for both. And then, so next, I kind of missed the first part of it, but so Cody Rhodes was out to address people, cut a promo, but he was interrupted by Jade Cargill. That's her name, I guess. So, I mean, this was a odd promo, to say the least. So, Miss Cargill said that you claim to be the giant killer, but there's nothing giant about you. And then she left the ring, said that the only giant in this business, how she has a client, his name is Shaq. So then she also congratulated Cody on his name, but she also said, although you don't have the balls to only have one name. So there's that. Then Brandy Rhodes came out and cut a great promo on Miss Cargill. And then they were separated by Jeremy Lin and the officials. And then Cody was attacked by Team Taz, but was saved by Darby. And then that was how the segment went off the air. So kind of weird. I mean, I am curious to see. I hope it's not Shaquille O'Neal. There were flaws definitely in this segment. First of all, Cargill, her promo was Cody, first of all, apparently next week, it's going to be Cody and the new TNT champion Darby Allin versus Team Taz's Ricky Starks and Brian Cage, which should be a fun match. But this promo was Brandy's promo on Cargill was cool, was good, but Jade's promo was bleh, just bleh. Anyway, so we go from that to Jon Moxley backstage interview. He was asked about Kenny Omega. So Moxley said that when he first started in AEW, he didn't look to become the AEW World Champion. He just looked to do his thing. He looked to break bones, break limbs, beat people up. But then you realized on Sunday, as he made Kingston say, I quit, that having this title, being the champion, means that I represent this company. I represent this great sport, the best sport in the world, professional wrestling. And then he praised Kenny Omega, talked about how they fought once last year, Full Gear, even though it was unsanctioned, the lights out match. beat him once, and that anybody could beat him once, but it'd take a special person to beat him twice, and I am special. So again, good promo by Moxley. Can't wait for the match on December 2nd. Should be fun. Moxley, I'm kind of curious because the match is going to happen on December 2nd. And then, well, we still got 3 months until Full Gear after that. So, some nice breathing room, per se, to see who Kenny, his first challenger, would be for Revolution. But can't wait for the match, is all I'll say. So next was a unexpected but brutal and fun match. It was a bunkhouse match. The Butcher and the Blade versus the Natural Nightmares. Forgive me, but I have never heard or seen a bunkhouse match before. From the way it looks, it was a no holds barred type of atmosphere. Again, there's a lot going into it. Of course, the feud being built about how the Nightmare family recruited Allie, or she was basically flirting with Kitty Marshall, and then Allie betrayed them to become the bunny again for the Butcher and the Blade. So this was still pretty fun match. So again, there was weapons, there was blood, as expected. So earlier, Marshall got hit with guitar by the Blade, fighting on the outside, and Dustin hit the final reckoning to the Butcher on a chair on the outside, which didn't move, which was kind of interesting, which was a little bit scary, but good spot. Then QT Marshall was busted open, from that guitar spot. So Dustin and the Butcher were fighting on the stage area, or next to the stage area. And then off it were some plywood tables. And then Dustin hit a bulldog to Butcher off the stage area through these tables, or plywood, per se. Nice spot. So then it left the Blade and QT Marshall in the ring, both busted up, both slugging out in the middle of the ring. Because, this was really the key of the rivalry, because, Allie, the bunny, is married to the Blade, and QT Marshall, of course, is like a love triangle type of thing. So they were slugging out. Then there was a ladder being brought into the ring by QT Marshall. He set up when a big elbow drop, from the top rope onto the Blade for a near fall. Butcher and Blade hit full death on Dustin through some chairs, but in the nick of time, QT Marshall rolled into the ring and nailed Blade overhead with a trash can lid. And then QT Marshall hit a diamond cutter on Blade for the win. After Ali was knocked through a table on the ringside. 1, 2, 3. Natural Nightmares get their revenge, and in a bloody affair, Butcher and Blade still look strong. Now, it was probably a little too much, I would say. Kind of gimmicky. Probably didn't need to go that far, but still, it was a fun match. Yeah. So it was a good match. So then we go from that to Detail and Matt Hardy recapping his rivalry with Sammy Guevara, how it was basically put to rest after the Elite Deletion match versus Sammy Guevara. Said that this will make him a better wrestler than he ever was. So don't fray from what I have given you, and you're welcome. So then we had the induction of MJF and Wardlow into the Inner Circle. This was funny. So Chris Jericho, Hager, Santana Ortiz, they came out and mixed emotions for all. So there was a podium set up in the middle of the ring. Jericho came out first. He seemed happy. Hager and Santana looked joyful as well, but Ortiz looked conflicted. So then MJF and Wardlow came out. MJF looked like he was about to cry. It was just funny. So then they both got into the ring, and then MJF stepped up to the podium and basically said, "Thank you, and I have a poem for you guys." So then he read off some Drake lyrics. Or first he said, this poem that my homies at Santana Ortiz was like. So he read off some lyrics to certain Drake songs, which upset Tony Schiavone and Ortiz, which was funny. And then and then MJF said, "I started from the bottom, and now I'm in the Inner Circle." So, nonetheless, this was funny. Ortiz was getting agitated, getting upset at MJF, but Chris Jericho said, "Hey, if you're upset and you two are fighting, it's on me, and that you two will work this out because we are family." So, then all of a sudden, MJF said, "Well, we're also celebrating your birthday." So, because Jericho is now 50. So all of a sudden, balloons popped out of everywhere, confetti, streamers came out, celebratory mode, and then MJF said, "Well, we're going to Vegas," and then handed all of them tickets, and then that was how the segment left the air. This is funny. Jericho and MJF are just hilarious. And segments they do always. Next week, they go to Vegas. It'll be very interesting to see how the Inner Circle does. And this is just gold. So curious where this all leads to, but nonetheless, it's very joyful and very funny. So the next, we had the Young Bucks. They were being interviewed by Alex Marvez, and Alex Marvez was hesitant because, of course, Young Bucks a couple of months ago gave him a super kick party while he was trying to get in a word with them. So he was hesitant during the interview. However, they apologized and then they announced that their favorite movie is Top Gun, Top Flight, and they talked about a new team, Top Flight, that is new and signed to the company. And they announced that next week they're going to take on these new cats, Top Flight, in a match. So it should be interesting. The Young Bucks putting over another new young tag team should be fun. And the tag team titles just look normal and just look where they should be on the Bucks because, of course, they're the best tag team in the world, basically. It'll be really interesting to see who they face and who will be their first challengers. Well, actually, I think their first defense will be next week against Top Flight, but still, can't wait to see who they face first as their first real test for the championships. So then we had Scorpio Sky versus Shawn Spears. This is a good match. This has been stemming for some weeks now. Shawn Spears, of course, he's trying to get back at Scorpio Sky for taking a moment from him. So Spears is now said he was going to take a moment from Sky. So they were exchanging back and forth. I'm guessing it happened in the picture-in-picture commercial because I don't really watch it. When it's in picture-in-picture commercial, it's just hard to watch when there's no audio. So the steel steps were set up at ringside. Spears landed a sidewalk slam onto the steel steps onto Scorpio Sky, which was a good spot. And then they were exchanging, and then at the end of the match, So, Tully Blanchard, who was at ringside for Spears, he put the steel slug that Spears usually wins with, that he puts in his glove, and then distracted the referee, and then distracted Scorpio Sky, and then while behind the referee's back, Spears landed a right hand and knocked out Scorpio Sky with the slug fuse glove. Knocked out Sky 1, 2, 3 and pinned him to win this match. And then quickly hid the slug. Afterwards, the referee was trying to find the slug in the glove, or something, to no avail. And Shawn Spears wins this match over Scorpio Sky. I mean, I like both guys. Both guys have not been featured much. I mean, it's weird because Spears, he was on a roll heading into Double or Nothing, and he thought maybe he could be the first challenger for Cody for the TNT Championship. However, they put him in that gimmick match for Dustin Rhodes, which kind of killed his momentum if he had any. And then he's been self-featured heavily on Dark. Hopefully we get to see him more. I mean, he has one of the best records in AEW. And I think I would not mind seeing a Darby Allin versus Shawn Spears match for the TNT Championship, basically. But it seems like they're setting up Darby for Starks. That appears that way. But good match for both. And same for Scorpio Sky. He's very talented. But we'll just have to see what the future holds for both of them. So then we had a interview of Kenny Omega, the new number one contender for the AEW World Championship. At first, they were trying to cut to an interview with Dasha Gonzalez, but she said Omega stormed off, and then Marvez caught up to him in the parking lot, and then he said some few words. So Kenny Omega talked about, well, people were all wondering, oh, where's Cleaner, or where's the best bout machine? And he said, maybe I never left. Maybe I'm just ready to reassume these responsibilities as the best wrestler in the world. And then he said, Moxley has something that I want. And that's the AEW World Championship. And for the first time ever, they will face. Because I checked the rankings, I checked the records, and it shows no knowledge of us facing each other. So, interesting. And he said, I bid you adieu. I got a flight to catch. Enjoy Dynamite. So that was out. So that was it. I mean, I'd rather be interviewed by Dasha Gonzalez than Alex Marvez. Alex Marvez looks tired, and Dasha is a pretty lady for all intents and purposes, but it is what it is. nonetheless, it's nice that Kenny Omega is paying attention, even though he lost, but does not count the rankings because it was a lights out unsanctioned match. So, but either way, like I said, can't wait for December 2nd. So next we had Red Velvet versus Ty Conti. Ty Conti won. Both are improving prospects in the women's division. Both could certainly help this division that is lacking talent. Red Velvet, she was on a roll, but then she lost to Nyla Rose last week. And then Ty Conti, she's new, obviously she has great looks, but she has just been not used as much for whatever reason. So, nonetheless, it's fine for what it was, basically. And Ty Conti gets the victory. So, then we had an Inner Circle backstage interview. Everybody except Sammy Guevara, who showed up, said that MJF sent him an email to go to the beach, and he was wondering where all the Inner Circle and people were out, and they said they were out there, and MJF said, well, I sent you a second email, and he's like, no, you told me to go to the beach. So that was that. And basically it. MJF said, I really meant to send you that second email. Gave him his ticket to Vegas, and that was that. I'm a little confused, though, as to why I know Sammy Guevara is a part of the Inner Circle, but still. He was in the Elite Deletion match and shows up the next week on Dynamite. That's a little logic gap, but I figured they just let him stay off for a couple weeks, but it is what it is. So then we get to the main event, Pentagon vs Rey Fenix. Eddie Kingston, he was on commentary. This match, it wasn't as good as their previous match a couple weeks ago in the tournament, but it was still a quality match. Prior to the match, Kingston came out and talked about Moxley made me quit. He was a better man. I'll have to live through that for the rest of my life. However, tonight you'll be watching two of the greatest luchadors in all of pro wrestling, and you're welcome. And I will one day be world's champion. So I kind of missed most of this match, sadly, but when I watched it back, it wasn't really all that special. At the end of the match, Pentagon, he landed a package pile driver on Phoenix on the apron, and then rolled him back in the ring, landed another package pile driver for the win. I was a little nervous because they ripped off most of their masks. So it was kind of strange, but so then afterwards, Kingston praised Pentagon because he's his best friend, and then kicked Phoenix out of the ring. And then all of a sudden we hear PAC's music, and the bastard PAC returns. Told A. Kingston, "You think I'll be gone forever? Well, you're sorely mistaken." And then so they confronted each other. PAC gets in the ring. They're held back by officials. I would love to see this match on the card of Moxley and Omega. Should be very interesting. I would love to see this match. Apparently next week is PAC's return match. PAC versus Blade of the Butcher and Blade. So should be interesting. Of course, there's the ties because PAC befriended the Lucha Brothers in Death Triangle, but PAC was obviously taken away due to the restrictions in the UK, but now he's back. And then Kingston has befriended the Lucha Brothers and Butcher and the Blade for his own game, basically, and his family. So, yeah, so there's that. Solid way for Dynamite to go off the air. Overall, good show, good fall show for AEW Dynamite. Also, we got Kip Sabian, versus Orange Cassidy next week. So, got a couple interesting matches going in next week. We got Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin versus Brian Cage, Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks. We got Blade versus PAC. We got Kip Sabian versus Orange Cassidy. So some interesting matches going into next week. Nonetheless, further some storylines. Building their next big thing is December 2nd, which is going to be built all around Moxley and Omega, which should be fun. And then once we get from that, we'll get start of the build towards Full Gear, sort of. But nonetheless, good show. Did what it needs to do from the fall show. For the fall show, and did what it needs to do. So that's the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm AJ2 in Love. If you're new, again, like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. I'll see y'all back on Tuesday with another sports review topics. But again, thank y'all and see you next week.